Hey, what's up, everyone? And hello to my fellow musicians out there. My name is Dexter. I am founder of Echoingwalls Music and creator of the Music Sense Project. And today we're going to be talking about money and how you could make it as an independent artist in today's music industry. Now, before I get into what this training is all about, I want to kind of narrow down who I'm talking to. I am speaking directly to musicians who want to make money as a musician, but they're kind of stuck and they want to get more results. Maybe you've been grinding for a while and you hold down a little part time job on the side while you work on your music. Maybe you were where I used to be, where I left the music industry, did something else full time as a career, and came back to music. Or maybe you're already making money as a musician and you want to get more results, but because of how the music industry is today, you are limited by your options. Now, my goal today are three things. One, I want to give you some value in a way that you can walk away and apply what you're learning and go on to create results for yourself. That'll be probably the best outcome that I can think of from this video. Secondly, I want to give you the opportunity to access tools and education that will actually help you get to where you want to go even faster. And thirdly, I want to share my vision with you. Talk a little bit about the future of Echoing Walls music and the Music Sense project and where everything is going and how I can actually help you get to where you want to be even faster. Now, I'll be cheating off my notes here, so if I look away, that's I'm actually looking at my notes. So, definitely stick around after the training and just kind of hang out with me. I'll kind of share what my vision is, share some ideas with you, share some beliefs with you, and kind of give you guys some value that you can actually take away, apply, even think about things differently, and change the way you do things. So, who I'm not talking to, the independent artist, even though you're not independent, you're not fully independent, meaning you have your contracts, you have your deals, you're working with like another label or something like that, or you're actually well on your way to being established in the traditional music industry. This content may not necessarily apply to you in your situation right now, but you're welcome to hang out with us and really, if you're ever in a position where you're fully independent again, you can actually take this stuff and apply it with you. Definitely, it's good to know. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Today, I'm going to be talking about three different things. I'm going to be talking about your mindset, which to me is actually the most important stuff, or the most important aspect, because there is a difference between how successful independent musicians think and how a regular musician who's just struggling and grinding endlessly thinks. And to me, once you understand the difference, once you actually get it, it'll that mental shift will actually change the way you operate and you'll go on to make massive success. The second thing I want to talk about is skills. The things that you need to learn in order to not just become successful, but make money. And I make that distinction between success and money because as a musician, for us, money is not the most important thing. The most important thing for us is the music. But that caveat is that we're all big boys and girls here, right? We know that money is important. We have bills to pay and we have gas to buy to get to our next gig. We have instruments, so we realize that money is important too. So even though it's not the most important thing. So, first, the mindset is different. And what successful musicians focus on and what they do every day is different. And the third thing we're going to talk about are tools and what you should actually have in your arsenal. The thing you should be able to do and understand and master. For example, there's a difference between tools of promotions and tools of making money. They're actually very different. And what I want to do is I want to kind of share what those concepts are with you and hopefully introduce you to a suite of tools that will actually help you accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish in a smarter way. So let's talk about mindset. And this is probably the biggest one that I think a lot of musicians miss. And that is, you are not just a musician. The moment you decided that you were going to do this on your own, that you were going to set your own prices, that you were going to promote your own music, that you were going to do it on your own, you failed to be just a musician. You stopped being just a musician. You became a business owner. You became an entrepreneur. And I'll I'll give you a real life example right now. If you were to think of all the things that you do as an independent musician and compare it to all the things that a business owner does every day, you will find a lot of the same things on that list. And like I said, let's put that to the test. I've been working from home for several years now, and I've been running a business for several years. And a lot of the people in my circle are business owners, so I can tell you what we do every day. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I do every day. We're going to match it up against the things that you do every day, and we'll score that. So one of the things that I do is I book events, whether it's a meeting or an actual concert or event. I book events. I manage schedules. I handle finances. That's like the third thing. I promote my products. I make connections and I expand my network. That's something else. I'm focused on building my brand. I oversee technology like my websites and the emails and the devices I use to communicate with. I deal with legal paperwork. Hey, I have copyrights to deal with too. I create products and services that I expect people to buy. I have to deal with customer service. And, the list goes on and on and on. And those are just a few of the things that a regular business owner does. So, how am I doing? Are you doing many of those things too? Some of them? You, as an independent musician, will do everything that a business owner does and more. More so because you are actually more involved as a musician than just a regular business owner. At the moment that you understand that, your entire situation flips on its head and you've created a whole new scenario for yourself. So you shouldn't really ask, how does a musician make money in the music industry? You should be asking, how does a business owner make money in the music industry? And it's totally different, right? When you think about it. Now, here's another interesting question. Have you ever thought about your music as a product? Because that's basically what it is. Whether it's on a physical product like a DVD or a CD, some people still use those still. Whether it's digital like an MP3 player, your phone, a video, maybe a live event. It doesn't really make a difference what format it's in. It's a product. It's just packaged differently with a different price on it. And a lot of musicians, I know I talked about money. It's like, the big no-no for a lot of musicians. I've heard people say, I'm not just a musician. It's all about the music for me. And, my personal favorite is money is not important. But if any of that were true, I know we like to believe it, but if any of that were true, you wouldn't be upset when a venue asks you to play for free to get exposure. I mean, every business has a bottom line and operating costs. For you, that bottom line is how much money you need to make every month to pay your bills and the rent and your personal debts if you have any. Your operating costs are what it takes to maintain your music career. Whether you're making money from it or not. You have instruments and repair and maintenance when you need it. You have to put gas in your car. You have your car note. You have to pay your insurance. You have equipment, insurance, studio time, marketing costs, your outfits. I mean, understand that you are not just a musician anymore, and it can't be all about the music. And no, you can't push this off on someone else and let them worry about the business side. In fact, I think that's exactly how this music industry got messed up in the first place. Someone way back then realized that musicians don't want to handle their own business and decided to turn musicians into a product for their own businesses. And today, musicians are complaining about exploitation and people not valuing music. the way they should, and millions of struggling artists are grinding and hoping for a break in the same industry that turned them into a product in the first place. And to me, that is just absolutely crazy. But here's the good news: musicians created this modern industry, we allowed it to happen. And we have the power to change it, which is actually the good thing. But it starts with this right here: your thinking, how you operate. You have to start thinking like a business owner. And that means you have to learn and grow. You have to gain new skills. You have to change where your focus is. You have to adopt new actions that will get you the results that you want. Because if you continue to do the same thing over and over again, you will get the same results that you always did. So let's talk about skills. What exactly does a successful business person do all day, and how do they make money? And what do you need to learn to do differently in order to get the results that you want? Now, I learned it that there are two types of activities. There are income producing activities and there are non income producing activities. Guess which one most musicians focus on most? They focus on the latter, the activities that don't create income. Now, before I continue, I'll give you some examples of non income producing activities, but let's kind of define what income producing activities are. And they are categorized generally by three results. I mean, they always result in one of three things: they create traffic, they capture leads, and they convert to sales. And we call this the three C's of marketing: create, capture, convert. Traffic is nothing more than qualified people checking out your offer, whether it's music or merchandise, an event, or whatever it is. And I stress qualified because not everyone who likes music will be interested in your music or your merchandise or anything else. You have to learn your market and identify people who will most likely show interest in you and respond to you. A lead is someone who actually says yes to one of your offers, or they take action to give you their information in exchange for something. So, you want the free poster, text 12345 to this number. That's a lead. Somebody who enters your name and their email address in a form to sign up for your street team. That's a lead. The other ones who will probably, like I said, sign up to be part of your street team and check out what you're selling. And convert to sales, the third thing, that's easy. They take out their wallet and they buy from you. Now, if those things are income producing activities, what are some non income producing activities? And I'll give you some examples. How about making sure your website looks good? I used to spend a lot of time developing my website. Doesn't make money. Learning to code in HTML or PHP and Ajax and all this other stuff is great. It's important, but it doesn't make money. Figuring out graphics, having the best graphics in the world. Important, but it doesn't make money. Now, this is how much of a dope I am. I used to think long ago that if I had this amazing, great, beautiful website, that people will just flock to my website and I will make tons and tons of money. And I'm kind of putting some beans out there, but that's what I used to think. And I spent all my time making sure that my websites were looking great and beautiful and wonderful. And guess what? I had an awesome website that nobody visited and I didn't make any money. Trying to produce videos. Important, doesn't make money. But here's the thing. I bought a phone to shoot videos. Like right now I'm sitting at my home in front of my bookshelf. I've got some entrepreneur books, I've got some programming books and stuff like that. And, I could have taken the time to actually put together a beautiful presentation, PowerPoint, text, right colors and all that. I could have taken the time to do all of that, but honestly, I'd rather sit here and talk to you just shooting a video on my phone. All right. It's great, but me talking to you like this doesn't make me any money. Practice with musicians. We hear it all the time. Practice, practice, practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? We spend a great deal amount of time practicing. It's important. It's necessary to hone our skills. But practicing itself doesn't make us any money. Doing paperwork. I can't tell you how many times I have told people around me, hey, I can't talk right now. I'm busy. I'm doing paperwork. Doing paperwork didn't make me any money. Hanging out in the studio. running other errands, and so on. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. The things that we do every day that occupies our time, that just sucks away the hours, doesn't make us any money. They are important. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't do them. I'm saying learn to prioritize the activities that produce income above the ones that don't. And musicians typically like to focus on music and put the business off on others. Well, you can't do that anymore, which means those non-income producing activities need to be done off the clock. They need to be done after business hours, or better, you need to outsource it to someone else who can do it. Musicians who make a living in music, like all successful business owners and entrepreneurs, they focus on income producing activities first during business hours. And they've also developed three important skills. And you have to develop these skills in order to succeed yourself. Number one, you have to learn how to build an audience. That's important. That's where it starts. And this is also something that goes back to the mindset that I think needs to be flipped. A big part of a musician's grind is they're trying to get their name out there. They're trying to make things happen. That is the wrong approach, because there is a step in front of getting your name out there that a lot of musicians are missing. So I'm going to change your grind here a little bit. Your goal shouldn't be to get your name out there. Your goal should be to build an audience. Your goal should be to attract the people who respond to you, will like you, and resonate with your music, your message, and your image. You get those people around you. That should be your focus. To put it another way, your goal shouldn't be to get your name out there. It should be to get the people around you who will, and they in turn will get your name out there. They're the ones going to share it with their friends, their family. They're going to sign up for your street team. They're going to go out there and promote on their own. I'll give you a real funny example, and I always thought it was hilarious until I learned what they're for. Why does every rapper have hype men? Think about it. Every line they drop, everybody's like, "Oh, that's hot, listen to that," and they're spinning it out on the Facebook or on Google Plus or wherever they are. That's what hype men do. That's what you actually want. You want a bunch of hype men and hype women around you. You want fanatics that are just going to enjoy promoting you and pushing you out there because they're doing it because they love what you're doing. And by the way, they're not doing it for you. They're doing it for themselves. They see something that they like that resonates with them in your music, your message, your image. So they're going to want to do it. That's the audience you should be focused on building, and you should let the audience get your name out there. The other two things we kind of talked about already, you want to get leads. When you have a qualified audience and they're interested in what you're doing and they can resonate with you and they will respond to you as well. They will be the ones that text 12345 to that number to get this. They're the ones that going to fill out their name and fill out their form and respond to your offers and become leads and close sales. Those same people that said yes, they're the ones that are going to take out their wallet and going to buy from you. And, like I said, those are the 3 C's of marketing. And, that is what you actually want. So it starts with building an audience. You have to learn how to get leads, and there's a process for that. And then you have to learn how to close sales, and there's a process for that. So those are the 3 skills. And we're going to talk about tools now. And I promise you've never heard this before. I'm pretty sure you've never heard this before. Because I've read thousands of articles over the years on how to make money as a musician, both when I was struggling and when I started doing it myself. Nobody shares this. So I'm going to kind of let you in on the secret that nobody actually wants to share with you directly. The first is the power of direct sales. And this is actually something that upsets me, because the music industry today, that is something that they took away from independent artists. They took away the power of direct sales. And the ability to sell directly to your customer and keep 100% of the profits for yourself is how you build your business. It lets you determine It lets you determine your bottom line. It gives you options to move right now, so you're not waiting on somebody else to figure out how much money they owe you. Now there are some services out there that give you 100%, but there are so many restrictions on it that you're at the mercy of them to get paid. Now, I want you to actually understand how crazy this is that musicians don't have it. If you were to walk into a store today and buy a product or order a service off the shelf, who do you give that money to? The people you're buying it from, right? Makes sense. You're going to buy a product, you're going to buy something from somebody, you give them the money. Now, reverse it. If somebody walked into your store, you're the store owner, somebody walked into your store and they want to buy something, who do you want them to give the money to? You, right? They're buying from you. But that's not how it works in the majority of the music industry today. Today, when somebody buys music, they buy from a third party company or a distributor. And that distributor or whoever's listing your music decides when to pay you and how much of that profit you actually get. And you have to agree to those terms, otherwise you don't get your music sold. So you're basically trapped by the industry on how much money you can actually make. And I've seen some of the numbers. I've seen independent artists people who are very wildly popular, and people think they're making a lot of money and they're only making a couple $1,000 off of like 10,000 sales. I mean, it's crazy. Now, here's the kicker. Keep in mind that you made the product yourself. You wrote the lyrics. You made the music. You put all this time into practicing and making sure it sounds right. You went out there and promoted it yourself. All they did was wrap it up and put it on display for somebody else. That's crazy, isn't it? Now, if you were to actually take what was done to the music industry and apply it to anybody else, you would think that it's crazy. It's the biggest scam in the world. And for example, if you walked into a studio right now and told the engineer that you're going to pay him 5% of his asking price for his work, he'll laugh at you, right? Nobody does business like that. If you walked into a business and told them that you want to buy something from them, but instead of giving them the money, you will give it to somebody else, and they will send them a percentage of the profit later on, 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now. There's one service out there that you have to sell a certain amount with a threshold before they'll cut you a check. They'll call the cops on you. They'll think you're a scammer. If I was to tell you, I wanted to buy this from you, but tell you what, I'm going to give the money to this guy over here, and in 30 days, he's going to cut you a check for a share of what it's worth. You think I'm a scammer. You think it's dirty. Now, if you wouldn't accept that for yourself or for another business, why do we allow it to happen to musicians all the time? Think about that. We allow the music industry to get away with a whole lot. And it's just business as normal. Again, that's our fault. We allowed it to happen. But we also have the power to change it. So the first tool you need in your arsenal is the power of direct sales. It gives you freedom. It gives you power. It lets you get money now so you can take action faster. It actually gives you options. You can determine your own bottom line. So the first tool in your arsenal should be direct sales. It is a must if you want to break out of endless grinding. The second tool you must have is a system that facilitates your business. Now, I'm not talking about automation. People hear system, they talk about automation and stuff like that. Automation is built for processes. And I'll explain this a little bit. What's the difference between a system and a process? A system is a collection of processes. Processes are how something is done. A system only facilitates the end result. So, for example, let's take a research company. Lawyers do research all the time. For doing their research, they needed a system that keeps them up to date on rulings that come out of courts, because there's courts in every city, state, district in the country. Okay. And all of them are making rulings every day. How do they keep up with that information? They need a system to stay updated, right? So 50 years ago, the process might go something like this. A judge hands down a ruling, the stenographer takes notes, it is then typed up by a secretary and printed out and stored in a folder, filed in the library, and tucked away in a storage compartment somewhere. When a lawyer wanted to do research, they had to drive down to a library, search through index cards, then find where that box is, go to the back, bring that box out, and all that stuff. And they'd sit down there for hours just going through paperwork. Then at the end of the day, they'd have to pack everything back up, put it back, and all of that. That was the process. Today, technology changed. We have the internet. So a judge will pass down a ruling. It's recorded on audio or video, automatically transcribed. All of it is uploaded into a database. And when a lawyer wants to do research, all he has to do is log into a website somewhere and access that information. The process changed. The system remained the same. It's still, 50 years ago, it was a system to deliver up-to-date information to lawyers doing research. Today, the system is still the same. It delivers up-to-date information to lawyers doing research. But what changed was the process. So a system are a collection of processes, and you can always improve and change processes, but the system facilitates the end result. Does that make sense? So what you actually need is a system that allows you to make good money as a musician, and that system has to actually do a few specific things in order for it to work towards your benefit. And the first thing we talked about, it had to facilitate and allow direct sales. Now, if you were to think about direct sales alone, that one disqualifies the majority of everything else in the music industry. In other words, if you're serious about making money as a musician and you need to look at systems that will let you conduct direct sales, there aren't many. Like I said, there were probably 2, maybe 3 I can think of off the top of my head. It has to allow you to sell direct to your customer. You have to be able to get paid instantly, and you have to keep the majority of your profit, or all of your profit if you're actually in it for yourself. Now, if a system is not allowing you to do that, it's not serving your best interest, and I truly, truly believe that. But that's not the only thing that system should do. We talked about income-producing activities and non-income-producing activities. A good system will reduce the time you have to spend on non-income-producing activities and allow you to focus on income-producing activities and help you get more results that way to produce results and get more income. If you were going to look at just those 2 things, having direct sales and a system that allowed you to focus on income-producing activities, it would change the way you do business forever. But there's a third thing that you actually need. It is immediate access to high ticket opportunities. And that is a very big one. And I'll explain to you why. As a musician, you have to access opportunities that goes beyond the traditional music industry and what people think it is. It's more than just playing gigs and concerts and making beats. Understand that music is global and it is a part of every industry and market in the world. And I need you to truly understand that. Think of an industry today that does not have music in it. You might be able to think of 4. Every television show, every cartoon, every movie, every business commercial, every major event, even live events, even a business event, you have music for people walking out on stage. You have closing down. You have corporate meetings where people are waiting. You go into a waiting room, there's music playing. You walk off of an elevator, there's music playing. When somebody puts you on hold on the phone, there's music playing. When you walk through a mall, there's music playing. In fashion, when models are walking down the runway, there's music. In an art gallery during shows, sometimes they'll have music. In the health market, they use music for therapy and teaching and relaxation. They use music in meditation. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So don't limit yourself to what the music industry says is how music should be made. You should have access to those other markets if you're actually serious about making music and making money doing it. So you need to be able to access those other markets in order to make money with your music. And I believe the company that can do that will run the music industry for the next 100 and 200, 300 years, at least. All right. So, in just a little 30 minutes or so, we talked about a lot. So let's kind of recap. Number one, you need to understand that you're no longer a musician or just a musician. You're a business owner and an entrepreneur. The second thing is that you need to focus on and prioritize income producing activities, putting non income producing activities off to the side, off business hours, or just plain out outsourcing them. You need to develop 3 specific skills. That's number 3. Building an audience, getting leads, and closing sales. Number 4, you need to leverage direct sales and the freedom and power that it brings to your business. Number 5, you need a system that allows you to focus on the right kind of activities. And number 6, you need immediate access to those high ticket opportunities to expand your music. And I'm telling you, if you apply these principles to your business, you will see results. Success leaves clues. I know it because every musician that I've seen and I've studied, every business owner that I've studied who have become successful, these are some of the principles that they apply. These are just some of them. There's a whole lot more, and we'll get into more of that later. Now, kind of recapping here, my goal is that you will take what I've shared with you here today, what you're learning, and apply it to your career and have massive success for yourself. That is like the ultimate outcome. And, obviously, if you were to take everything that we talked about on today's market, there really isn't anything that does it all. All right, there really isn't. But the beautiful thing is that I have spent the past 2 years, I've invested my time, my skills as a musician, a marketer, a salesman, a programmer, and I created a project called Music Sense. Now, before I get into it, I kind of want to share my vision with you, and it's a big vision. My goal is to create an army of 1 million musicians who are not just making money, but earning a living as a musicians. Now, that to me is what I'm here for. That is kind of my purpose. That's what I want to see happen for a lot of different people. Now, we know the music industry numbers. We've heard it in, many different formats over the years. And I think it's for major artists out there. There are hundreds. For every one major artist out there, there are hundreds that it will never be heard of. And I want to change that. Why? And I think it's hang on, I got a call coming in. Sorry. I believe in a few different things about the world. And you may or may not agree with these. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But I still want to share with you what drives me anyway. I have a sense of right and wrong. I believe in right and wrong. And I believe that if a person is going to pursue their passion and invest their time and their money and, devote all of their energy and creativity into making something, into creating something, that they should be the ones that dictate their future. I honestly believe that. Not some corporate middleman with their hand in your pocket. I believe that if you create a product and go through the battling that you have to go through to penetrate the marketplace and actually get sales, you should be able to keep your profits, all of it, or the majority of it, depending on what type of deal you have going. I don't believe that musicians should be reduced to a product just to package up and sell to the masses and that they are somehow replaceable when they aren't profitable. I think that's just dead wrong. And I believe that a smart company should step back and help musicians create, not just force creativity to meet some arbitrary deadline. Now, you may like the way that the industry works today, and that's completely fine. But I believe personally that the industry has done a lot more harm to independent musicians than good. And I want to fix that. And that's why I created Music Sense. It is the only direct sales and marketing platform for musicians that offers everything that we talked about here. It gives you the power of direct sales. It lets you keep 100% of your profits. You get paid instantly. And many of the processes as part of that system have been simplified. In fact, you can upload your music, edit the details, set your price, and start selling. In fact, if you uploaded a song on Music Sense today and you sold one, that money would show up in full in your PayPal or your bank account, however you decided to want to pay. There are no middlemen. It is a system that allows the musicians to run a business, specifically a business, because that's what you are. You are an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. But even more than that, I am actually creating tools that business owners need to succeed as a musician. Email and SMS tools, analytics, customer service apps, mobile marketing tools, built-in marketing. I'm actually doing a few cool things too. Like Music Sense is an unlimited service. Like I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of restrictions that come with services. Those restrictions you won't find here. I want musicians to have the freedom like they've never had before. I'm changing how some things work too. For example, a lot of services charge per song or per album. I think that's just a really dumb way of doing things because it's kind of like limiting how much stuff you can actually create and succeed with, and it kind of pushes all the stuff you created in the past off of relevance, and you have to keep fighting to be relevant with new content. I really think that's dumb because, especially when you think about the music industry, there are people who just really, really love older stuff that's been done before. I mean, people still listen to all of the greats, and I don't think you should be forced to push your music off the page to continually create new stuff. So what I did was I changed it from charging per song or per album to storage space. So, everybody gets a certain amount of space, and however much stuff you can fit into there, the price is going to stay the same. So if you can fit 10 amazing videos in there, do that. If you could take the space and put 500 songs in there, go for it. And you won't be charged any more or any less for how much stuff you have in it. I think that's a smarter way of doing things. Understanding modern technology, I changed how albums work. When the internet came, customers were given more freedom in their purchasing power. They can decide what they want to buy and how they want to buy it. The result for the musicians, however, was kind of catastrophic because customers were always buying singles now instead of entire albums to get the song that they want. They sorry, someone was messaging me through the way it fell, the way it came down is that album sales fell and singles went up. So I decided to find a way to increase album sales again. And I changed the way that albums work and created something called the music pool. Now, this is just one of my moments of genius I'd like to say that I have. And again, understanding modern technology and how it works. I gave customers the option to create albums and buy it the way that they want, remembering that they have the freedom of choice now. So basically what happens is you decide how many songs go into an album and how much that album will cost. You decide how many songs go into it, and the customer, when they want to buy songs, they get to pick and choose whatever songs that you selected to be available for that pool, and they actually get to create their own album the way they want to, and they get to buy it. And that is the music pool. Pretty smart, right? Another thing I changed was how marketing works, and this is something that always confused me about how companies serving independent artists. To me, it's crazy that they don't already do this. When you think about it, in today's music industry, companies that serve independent artists, they make money when the independent artist makes money. So it should behoove them to help you make more money, right? They don't do that. They don't actually care about the musician. They care about the money. Now, what they'll do is they'll give you a page, they'll give you a profile, a place to upload your music. You go out and do all the work. You promote it yourself. They take a cut to cut you a check. That's fine. That's how business works. But what if they decided to take a portion of the money that they're making and reinvest it into their artists to help them make more money? Everybody would win. You would make more money. They would make more money because that's how their relationships work. And like I said, I think it's crazy that they don't already do that. So what I'm doing with Music Sense is I am taking a portion of all proceeds, all profits, all membership fees, and reinvesting it into paid marketing to actually help you guys make more money. And I decided to do that. There's just so much more stuff that's happening with Music Sense that, I mean, you haven't heard anything yet. If I was to tell you what the next part is, it would just blow your minds. And Music Sense is just the first step of a much bigger plan. And like I said, what comes next will absolutely blow you away. But that's for another time. And you're going to actually have to run with me over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and beyond to see what's happening with Music Sense and what's coming after. This year, though, however, I just want to focus on Music Sense and making sure it's in a position to actually achieve my goal of helping 1 million musicians be successful in their industry. The price point for Music Sense is $14.95 a month, which, considering the value that you're getting, is probably the most affordable service ever for the pure value. But as I said earlier, I'll give you the opportunity to get Music Sense for free. And here's how you can do that. I am part of a community of entrepreneurs, and we work together to make money online, both in the opportunity itself and in our own personal businesses. And we do that because we focus on education and training that teaches us those three skills: how to build an audience, how to get lead, and how to close sales. And it teaches us the very skills that you need to learn to be financially successful. And it gives you to access to what I believe are the best coaches in the world. Many of them are 6 and 7 figure earners, and they've helped countless thousands of others to become 6 and 7 figure earners, which is, to me, is really, really important. Now, there is an income opportunity here as well. It is completely optional. You don't have to pursue it. But if you do, I'll be here to help you too. But I want to stress that, first of all, it's optional. You don't have to get it. And the second thing is, the only reason I'm offering it is because I want you to have access to the education, the training, the coaches, and the community. It's probably one of the best ways to actually work directly with me too, because I consult for free for the people who are part of my team, and you'll be able to benefit from that. It is, in my opinion, the best environment for an entrepreneur to grow. And as we covered, you are an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, and you need access to this stuff. Again, I'll stress it's completely optional. Now, if you want Music Sense, you don't have to get this offer. You don't. And of course, you don't have to get Music Sense either. You can take what I've learned, what you've learned here today, what I've shared, do your own research, learn in your own way, and that's perfectly fine. That's the way that I got started. Honestly, I got started that way because there wasn't a Music Sense for me to step into. I mean, there really wasn't. It took me a very long time, several years to figure this stuff out. Buying courses, studying with mentors and stuff like that. And a lot of the technology that I'm putting in front of you today didn't exist back then. So I had no choice but to do it the hard way. Today you have choices. I actually wish that somebody had the innovation to put this stuff in front of me and say, all right, this is how you make money. These are the tools to help you do it. This is the education you need. Go for it. And today, if you look around the market, it still doesn't exist. It hasn't been done. There's a lot of stuff floating around out there, and I've had a lot of trial, a lot of error to figure out what works and what doesn't. And what I'm building with Music Sense, in my heart of hearts, I know will be that thing that will help a lot of musicians. And I will not stop fighting until musicians have their own success story and go from being struggling to being successful. Now, sort of aside, Several weeks ago, I saw a commercial, and it's kind of exactly what I'm talking about. And excuse me for a minute here. I think it was for an IT school, or maybe one of those, get your degree from home programs. And they had what we call a success story. And the success story featured a former musician who was struggling and is now successful. But he's successful because he got a degree and he's now fixing computers as a techie for some company. That's what success is now for a musician, leaving music and going on to do something else. Does that sound like success to you? I refuse to accept that. And since the industry has failed to create a better way for the masses of musicians out there, then I'm gonna roll up my sleeves. I'm gonna get my elbows greasy. I'm gonna get my feet wet. I'm gonna do it myself because people need what Music Sense has to offer. They really do. And I know what it's like to struggle, honestly. And I've seen musicians walk away from their music, and the look on their face, that's not what success looks like. I've seen a lot of people broken because they had to give up their music because they couldn't find a way to make money. And I'll be dang if I'm not going to do everything in my power to help people do that. Now, I do have a success story that I hold to my mind. And he is a musician, and he makes so much money doing what he loves. And he has the freedom to focus on his music without having to worry about running into a job. And, he gets to play his music all day. And he's not stressing about punching a clock. And he gets to hang out with his wife and his kid and play music. That to me is a success story. And that is the idea of success that I want for other musicians. Seriously. Because that's all there really is when you think about success. So you have choices now. You can take what you've learned here, apply it, and hopefully go on to create massive success for yourself, amazing results for yourself, and more power to you if you do that. Or you can make a decision to run with me and this amazing thing and this powerful journey I've started called Music Sense. And, let me help you get to where you're going. So, you have a choice. And below this video, there is a link somewhere that is going to give you two options. The first is to get Music Sense the way it is by itself. The first is it's a $1 trial for 14 days. Then it's $14.95 a month after that. The second option is how you get Music Sense for free. It's to get access to the training and the education and the coaches. It is $47 a month to get started. And as long as you're a part of that program, your Music Sense membership is paid for. So instead of paying for two services, you're going to get one for free. And yes, I realize with option 2 that I'm actually taking a hit personally, profit-wise. But that's not what's important to me. What's important is that you're able to access the education and training you need to create this success, to learn those skills, and have access to the tools to help you do that. I stated my goal. I am helping to create 1 million successful independent musicians. That is my goal. The only question is, will you be one of them? Will you run with me on this journey? If the answer is yes, I want you to scroll down below this video. I want you to click on the link, and I want you to get started immediately. That's where this whole thing starts. So, with that said, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time and appreciate you being here. Thank you. I really do appreciate you. And I'll see you on the next page.